Have you ever experienced something so real, but everyone told you it was just a dream? I know what happened to me that night was not a dream. I saw it, and I felt it. The fear I felt was real, and I still think about it, even after all these years. I remember waking up early that morning, feeling nervous about going on my first overnight school trip. The apartment was still quiet. When I walked to the kitchen, my mom was already awake, making kimbap for the trip. The smell of sesame oil and fresh rice. I got excited immediately and forgot all about being nervous. But the day quickly turned into a disaster when I got on the bus. First, it started to rain suddenly. Then I had to sit alone on the bus and eat lunch by myself. I sat on the bus alone, feeling carsick, while everyone else was talking and laughing. I just wanted the rain to stop and to arrive at the trip. I pressed my forehead against the cold window and watched the rain fall down. I told myself it would get better when we arrived, but it didn't. As soon as we arrived at the historical site, the rain got so bad that the trip had to cut short. I thought, this was not my day. I was already tired and looking forward to go back home. The bus drove to the retreat center we were staying for the night. It was a huge building, maybe 6 floors. It was even bigger when I stood in front of it. The building felt a little off. It was new, but smelled like an old building. Our school was just using the top floor, though, the 6th floor. My homeroom teacher told us which room we were staying. I was sharing the room with 4 other girls. As soon as I got there, I unpacked and sat in the corner, feeling awkward. I pretended to look around, but really I wasn't. I was thinking if I should say something. I didn't really know any of the girls, even though they were all in my class. Then one of the girls started telling a story. She said the building we were staying used to be a hospital before it closed down, and it had been abandoned and empty for years. It was only renovated recently for students to stay during school trips since it was very close to the historical site, which was a popular destination for school trips. I felt a little weird about the place after that story, but thought, how could she know something like that? I mean, she was just a kid like us. Everyone came down to have dinner on the 1st floor and turned in early. At night, the teachers were taking turns to monitor the hallway and check the rooms. I felt safe knowing they were out there. In the rooms, girls were talking about school and their favorite idols. One girl took out gongi, and I had fun playing. I was good at it. Later in the night, we were told to turn the lights off. That's when we started telling scary stories in the dark. The girl who talked about the building earlier especially got excited and continued telling more things about the building. She said she heard it all from her older sister before coming here. Her sister was here before and told her that it used to be a psychiatric hospital, and when she was here, she snuck into the basement with her friends and saw what it looked like the morgue. Examination tables and drains in the floor. I couldn't sleep after that. I've always had a hard time falling asleep and woke up during the night. All the other girls were sleeping, so I closed my eyes and forced myself to try. But I kept thinking about that story, the morgue in the basement. In the middle of the night, my eyes slowly opened. I lay there for a bit, staring at the ceiling, waiting for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. I turned my eyes left and right to look at my surroundings. Then I saw her, one of the girls, short hair. She was just sitting in the dark with her head down. First, I assumed she woke up just like I did, but she was completely still. I thought, is she okay? I slowly turned to my left to try to get up to talk to her and saw it. Her, the same girl. She was sleeping right beside me. I turned my head. She was still there sitting with her head down. How could there be 2 of them? I froze. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. I just sat there frozen. Then the girl sitting there lifted her head toward me and looked straight at me. Again. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. I panicked. I pushed myself up and headed to the door. I opened the door to the hallway and looked both ways, looking for anyone. Maybe a teacher patrolling the hallways. No teacher. No one. I started running anyway. I didn't know where I was going, but I just had to get away from her. The hallway was dark, but I started running. Then I felt something grab my ankle. So cold. It was the coldest thing I had ever felt. So cold that it hurt. I fell forward and hit the floor, and it started to drag me by the ankle, back, toward the room. I screamed as loud as I could, but it was like there was no one in the building, just me and this thing. My voice echoed. It felt like an empty building. Then everything went black. I woke up to my teacher shaking and calling my name out loud, cold sweat running down my face and back. All the girls were surrounding me, worried about me. The teacher asked me if I was okay. For a second, I almost forgot where I was. Confused, I nodded my head as I looked around. The girls told me I was curled up by the door and was not waking up no matter how much they tried. I felt a little embarrassed with all the attention, so I quickly stood up to get ready. Then I felt it, a sharp pain on my ankle. I sat back down and lifted my pant leg up to look at my ankle. Then there was a huge bruise. It almost looked like a handprint. I just stared at it. I started to remember that cold, the dark hallway, the echo. The girls said I probably had a bad dream, but I knew it wasn't a dream. Or was it? Just when I was feeling confused, I felt the pain again, and I knew. What happened that night was not a dream. It was real.